Please don't forget, no matter what ends up happening with Donald Trump, that one of the areas where he has done the most lingering long-term damage to our country and to our world has to do with the environment and our ability to combat the climate crisis. Remember, in May of this year, carbon dioxide levels reached 417 parts per million, the highest level ever recorded, in no small part thanks to increasing US emissions, which he helped to see happen. And all along, like the things that Trump did, whether it's opening up areas to mining or logging or all the environmental deregulations, the getting rid of the methane emissions, getting rid of the higher CAF standards and things like that, was all done supposedly to benefit the economy. But that apparently hasn't actually happened, shockingly. Economists see little evidence that Mr. Trump's rollback of climate change rules actually did bolster the economy, with jobs in the auto sector having been declining since the beginning of 2019, and the trend continuing despite the rollback of rules aimed at vehicle pollution from greenhouse gases. Domestic coal production, which he's tried to spur, last year dropped to its lowest level since 1978, thankfully. In September, the French government actually blocked a $7 billion contract to purchase American natural gas, arguing that gas produced without controls on methane leaks was too harmful to the climate, because of course it is. And so, like that, the long-term impact of these changes is just amazing. Hopefully Biden gets out in front of them fast, really fast. I wanna read you one more little bit of this. Most of Mr. Trump's environmental policies, which erased or loosened nearly 100 rules and regulations on pollution in the air, water, and atmosphere, which we previously talked about, can be reversed, assuming Biden does the right thing, though not immediately. And pollutants like industrial soot and chemicals can have lasting health effects, especially in minority communities where they're often concentrated. Air quality and water clarity can be restored once emissions are put back under control. But why would that be necessary? I mean, he always talks about how we have the best water, the best air. So clean. But anyway, yeah.
So John, you presented a bunch of facts and figures and realities about the situation. But again, the opposing argument is, and I'm glad you said it, we have the cleanest air and cleanest water. That's all you have to say. That's your argument, and we're just supposed to listen to you. That's just the way these things work. So again, for people who maybe think, yeah, Donald Trump came into office and he's doing this, and it's not such a big deal. We have another fascist that's about to take over. We have issues with Biden, we do, and those are obvious issues. But let's keep it real. There's things that can't be reversed, and even if they are reversed, it takes a long time for those things to actually take effect. This is not paying attention to what you may think, or what you're saying are the important things that we're dealing with. If you're a person, a progressive, it's like, oh, climate change is one of the biggest issues of our time. If you believed in Bernie Sanders, if you voted for him, and then he's talked about how climate change is one of the biggest issues that our world faces. And then you don't care that the guy who's literally tearing the world apart and adding to this climate change issue gets reelected because you're mad about what happened in the primaries. It's just, these are one of those issues where you can't ignore it and then say they're all the same people. Because it's obvious, it was absolutely accelerated since Trump came into office. Explicitly and like they fired all missiles directly at this problem. This is what they wanted, deregulation so people can make more money, and then who cares about the environment? And then the response that is, ours is the best. If you think that's fine, then you can go ahead, now you should shun Bernie Sanders and shun all of those things that you said were important to you. This is one of those issues, it just is, it won't go away.
Yeah, it's certainly one of the areas that they really focused on and were very successful, because so much of this can be done just through executive orders. And yeah, we've locked in a lot of that damage. And so the reason we're talking about this is less to go over the Trump stuff, because we've done that ad nauseum over the past few years, as everyone should, but also try to point out that Biden does have an opportunity, but it's not necessarily a perfect opportunity that can work perfectly immediately, even if he does the perfect things, which we don't know if he will. Even if he succeeds in re-implementing basically all of the regulations, a lot of them that were put in place under Obama and were taken out under Trump, even if he does that instantly, 2 years would pass before those rules would be legally finalized, resulting in more emissions. Legally finalized, actually put into effect, go through court challenges and things like that. Bear in mind, those court challenges could end up at a conservative supermajority Supreme Court, which is always going to be fun. There are some things that he can't necessarily do through executive orders, but others can be done almost instantly. I really think that there needs to be a long list of these on day one. The Biden administration can legally reinstate environmental protections on some public lands, including, we've recently talked about the opening up of logging in some of these old growth forests with trees that have been there for hundreds, if not thousands of years. Yeah, some things may be more difficult when it comes to regulation of power plants, regulations of cars. Will the Supreme Court allow those regulations to stand? I don't know. Things just got a lot more tricky. And this is not time that we have to spare. We are already so far behind, and we're trying to secure our future, knowing that there's a conservative Supreme Court that isn't gonna buy that all these regulation changes that Trump has done haven't benefited the economy, and that continuing it isn't going to.
There's plenty of hangover from the Trump administration that's gonna bog down the country for some time. And if you don't think Republicans aren't gonna come in 2 years if things continue to get worse the way they have, and say, look, President Biden has been in for 2 years and look how things have gotten worse. So the same way they do with the economy when they inherit a good one and then destroy it, and then claim to say, look what we got, a bad economy. No, you created the bad economy, but you got a great one. And every time a Democratic president comes in and changes what you did or tries to fix what you did, that takes them 8 years to do it, and then you go to destroy it again and blame them. If you don't think they're gonna do that with things like this, you're crazy. They know how this works. They know that there's a hangover. They know that it'll lag into the next person's administration, and then they can then blame them for those issues.
Yeah, you're 100% right. But anyway, this has to be an area that he comes out the gate swinging. We'll deal with the future consequences, but he at least has to do the right thing. Everybody, by the way, should take a little bit of time to go and look. The New York Times did a great write-up about this, about the Sunrise Movement, their wish list for the Biden cabinet, including on issues of the environment and other things too. We'll see. We'll be watching. Will Biden let us down? Probably, but we'll be here to see.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.